Okay, we're going to call the regular meeting of the traffic advisory committee to order on Tuesday, May 21, 5 p.m. So calling the meeting to order of the traffic advisory committee at 5 p.m. on May 21. So let's go with roll call.
Committee Member Pacheco.
Here.
Police Commander Doza.
Here.
Deputy Fire Chief Blaha.
Here.
City Engineer Patel.
Here.
Economic Development and Community Planning Manager Myrick.
Here.
Thank you.
Item 2, review agenda. If there are any items that arose after the 72-hour posting deadline, this is the point in the meeting where a vote may be taken to add to the agenda. Is there anything? Seeing none. Item 3, public comment. This is the time where members of the public can speak to up to 3 minutes, but items not on the agenda. Comments on specific agenda items are here under that item. For the public record, please state your name. Are there any names or anybody want to say anything on things not on the agenda? Not on the agenda. Your item is on the agenda. So you're cool.
Excuse me, was that Jake?
No,
it does not.
no, we're gonna get there. Okay, seeing none. Item 4A, consider the installation of blue curb in front of 1121 Elm Avenue.
Good evening, I'm Patrick Rogan, Associate Engineer with the Public Works Department. I'll be presenting on item 4A, consider the application for blue curb at 1121 Elm Avenue. Staff received the Traffic Advisory Committee request application dated January 10th, 2024 from a excuse me. Sorry about that. We received the TAC application dated January 10th, 2024 from a resident requesting the installation of blue curb in front of 1121 Elm Avenue. The application was previously heard by the TAC on March 19th, 2024, recommending that the application be approved pending review by the city attorney. Staff met with the city attorney to review the application and TAC's March 19th recommendation. City leadership requested that the application be brought back to TAC so that alternative solutions could be considered. Elm Avenue is classified as a residential street with a posted speed limit of 30 miles per hour, one lane of traffic in the east and westbound directions with parallel parking on both sides of the street. The street is approximately 36 feet wide from face of curb to face of curb. Sidewalks measuring approximately 5 feet wide are present on this block. Multifamily and single-family residences are present on this section of Elm Avenue. This property is a single parcel with one residence with a single car garage on the east side of the property. The property has approximately 51 feet of street frontage on Elm, including a driveway approach that's approximately 15 feet wide from wing to wing. Per Seaside Municipal Code Section 10.32.240A.5, curb markings to indicate no stopping and parking regulations. Blue indicates parking limited exclusively to vehicles of physical handicapped persons. Public right-of-way access guidelines outline the requirements for ADA compliant parallel parking spaces. The regulations are summarized as follows. Parallel on-street parking spaces shall be 24 feet long minimum and 13 feet wide and shall not encroach on the traveled way. Accessible parallel parking spaces provided may be the same dimensions as adjacent parallel parking spaces if they are provided nearest a compliant crossing with a curb ramp or blended transition. The right-of-way should not be less than 9 feet in width. Each parallel parking space shall be connected to a pedestrian access route at either end of the space. Either one end, not both ends. In order to conform with the above regulations, curb and sidewalk alterations would be required in order to place an ADA parking space in front of 1121 Elm Avenue. The current width from the center line of the right-of-way to the back of the sidewalk is approximately 23 feet. A minimum width of 27 feet is required to install the appropriate curb and sidewalk alterations. Alternatively, if available right-of-way does not meet the requirements, a section of blue curb may be painted to designate ADA compliant parking spots adjacent to a corner curb ramp or mid-block crossing with a curb ramp. There are no compliant curb ramps in the vicinity of the applicant's residence. If a curb ramp were to be installed, the closest suitable location would be the northeast corner of Terrace Street and Elm Avenue, approximately 150 feet away from the applicant's residence. Due to the lack of compliant curb ramps and the lack of street right-of-way width, staff evaluated alternative solutions to fulfill the applicant's request. Alternative 1, paint 20 feet of green curb immediately west of the applicant's existing driveway approach. California Vehicle Code Section 22.511.5 allows a person displaying a disabled placard or license plate to park for an unlimited amount of time in time-restricted parking spaces. The general public would still be allowed to park in the space within the 20-minute time restriction. Alternative 2, grant a minor use permit to allow the applicant to pave a parking space within their front setback. This solution would require alteration of existing Seaside Municipal Code to allow a minor use permit for this use. The topography of the applicant's front yard would also make the construction of this option difficult and costly. Alternative 3, implement a residential parking permit program. This solution would require that a parking permit program be added to the Seaside Municipal Code and city staff be directed to implement, manage, and enforce the program. A program budget would also need to be approved. It's estimated that it would take several months to a year to design and implement this program.
Great. Are there any questions? I just have
One more
I'm
slide,
sorry.
no problem. Due to the lack of right-of-way width and required improvements to conform with the ADA regulations for the placement of blue curb, staff recommends placing green curb in front of 1121 Elm Avenue. Thank you.
Are there any questions?
I can make a motion.
Probably should go out to the public and you
Okay.
can make a motion. I think there's a sick, go ahead. Do you have any comment? Anybody have any comments? If not, I think we've heard you and I think the recommendation is solid.
Paul, can you give her the microphone if she wants to?
I would like to thank everyone for whatever consideration that was been given to me as I've just became handicapped, you may say, where I can't really walk and whatnot. And for 32 years, I've hopped along and gone along with the parking problems on Elm Avenue. And I would like to still share the parking spots with everyone on Elm. I'm not asking for a designated place, just a place that would help me in my walking from the car into the house. I have other ramps to the house, but nothing that helps me with the parking of the cars up the street and down the street. And on weekends, I can't get in because everybody's home and nobody's moving. So I would appreciate, and I thank each one of you for what consideration you could and would give me for the parking place for myself and my deceased husband, who is a veteran, and police, who is also a sheriff department worked for the sheriff department for 18 years until he had a heart attack on the job. And I'm sure he would be looking for the same for anyone else's wife or dependent that would need a parking space. So any consideration would be greatly appreciated regardless of what.
Thank you. Ms. Patel, do you have a recommendation or?
Oh,
bring it
yeah,
back
I would
to
like a
staff?
motion to approve the recommendation from staff. to Install a green curb
Great.
spot.
There's a second on that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good. So you have your green curb. Thank you. And it has to go back to the city council. I must say that. It's gonna go to the city council for final recommendation. I'm sure staff will let you know when that date is, but it should be. a
It'll
good
go on
thing.
6/6.
Pardon me?
It'll go on 6/6, and I'll reach out to the applicant.
Yeah, June 6th. And it should be under consent agenda, I would assume.
So that means we may depart,
You may depart.
and before we depart, I would like to say thank you to, Mr. Pat Grogan, for his, sincere, visit, speaking to Mrs. Dyer, Brown Dyer. He's pragmatic, and, he's a good person.
Thank you.
And I would like to thank each of you.
Thank you. Okay. Item B, consider additional driveway approach at 1486 Santa Clara Avenue.
All right. This is item 4B, consider an additional driveway approach at 1486 Santa Clara Avenue. The property owner of 1486 Santa Clara Avenue is requesting to widen the widening of an existing second driveway approach to allow for access to a proposed garage. The lot currently has two driveway approaches on Santa Clara Avenue, but only one of the approaches has a paved driveway. The approach in question does not have a paved driveway behind it. This application is dated March 21st, 2024. Santa Clara Avenue is a local road with one path of travel in both the east and westbound directions, parallel parking on both sides, and is populated with single-family homes. It is approximately 35 feet wide from face of curb to face of curb and has a speed limit of 25 miles per hour. 5-foot sidewalks are present on both sides of the street. 1486 Santa Clara Avenue is a single parcel with one residence and a detached two-car garage on the east side of the property. The property has approximately 90 feet of street frontage. The City of Seaside's Municipal Code, Section 17.30.030, height limits and exceptions for structures is summarized as follows. Development proposed adjacent to, for safety site triangles, excuse me. Development proposed adjacent to any intersection, including the intersection of a driveway with a street, shall provide a traffic safety visibility area for pedestrian and traffic safety. This is a triangle defined by measuring 15 feet along the driveway from the intersection of the driveway with the street right-of-way line, and 15 feet along the street line away from the driveway and connecting the lines across the intervening property. The existing fence on the west side of the property is within the traffic safety visibility area as defined by Seaside Municipal Code 17.30.030E.2.b and is 4.4 feet tall, exceeding the height limit by 5 inches. The fence protrudes into the traffic safety visibility area by approximately 1.75 feet. Additionally, the City of Seaside's Municipal Code Section 17.34.120 driveways and site access outlines the requirements for driveways of a single-family dwelling and is summarized as follows. A single dwelling or duplex shall be allowed one driveway except a circular driveway may be allowed on a parcel with 70 feet or more of street frontage, or a parcel within the RS8 or RS12 zones with a frontage of 200 feet or more may have two separate driveways. Per the above stated code sections, 1486 Santa Clara Avenue is not eligible for a second driveway as its frontage is only 90 feet of the required 200 feet. If the owner were to modify the existing second driveway approach, it would need to conform to City of Seaside Municipal Code. Additionally, the approval of this application would remove one public parking spot from Santa Clara Avenue. Staff recommends denying the applicant's application for an additional driveway approach off Santa Clara Avenue as the property does not meet the minimum requirements as stated in section 17.30.030 and 17.34.120. Any questions?
So Patrick, if they did put in the driveway and it's against the code, how would that affect like safety or the driver's like ability to drive safely?
So generally speaking, traffic engineers want to minimize the amount of entrances and exits where a vehicle is crossing a pedestrian right of way, like the sidewalk. So we look to minimize, I'm not a traffic engineer. This is a traffic engineer such as would be on the city's on-call traffic list. They seek to minimize the amount of points where a vehicle crosses a pedestrian right of way like the sidewalk. So when we can, we should minimize the number of driveway approaches to minimize the number of points where a pedestrian and vehicle collision could occur.
But you were saying that there was something about proximity to the intersection, is that what you said?
So
Is that in
in
a
the
code?
definition of the traffic safety area applies for intersections like between two streets, because in that corner, they don't want people putting fences or trees. And it also applies to where a driveway meets a street. Our code calls that an intersection.
Okay.
But it's
so,
different
like,
than-
coming out close to an intersection could also be,
It could, but he's mid-block. He's not,
he's not close to the
he's
intersection?
he's not within the prohibited distance from the
Oh.
intersections. That's why I didn't mention that specific section of code.
Then which section is against the code?
His street frontage,
Oh, he doesn't have enough street frontage to put the second driveway.
correct.
I see. Okay.
You have a question? I have a question.
So what's the distance between the proposed driveway and the existing driveway on the other side of the property?
I don't remember the number exactly. It's approximately 40 feet, a
Okay.
little more maybe.
So, and I will just note that that's actually more than, or perhaps slightly less than your typical residential lot in the city of Seaside. And it looks like there's no driveway approaches on the adjacent property to the left here.
There is, let's see if you can see it in. You know, oh, you're correct. There is not one behind that. There's not a driveway approach behind the white pickup.
Okay, so understanding that, of course, zero driveway approaches would be safer than any driveway approach. So there's always going to be a non-negligible impact to public safety, but I would imagine that we've got lots of driveways that are closer than 40 feet throughout the city, especially on adjacent properties where you might have driveways next to each other. Do we have a lot of accidents with people pulling out of their driveways because they're close together, closer than 40 feet from each other?
I don't have that data on hand.
Can we condition this to modify the fence to reduce the height to eliminate the issue with the visibility triangle?
We have required that in other second driveway applications where that condition exists.
I would like to be able to make a statement, but I'll save that till after we get to that point in the presentation.
Why don't you go ahead? Mine's really.
Patrick, what's the distance between that driveway and the driveway next to it? Or is there no driveway next to it? Is that what you just confirmed?
Yeah, there's no driveway behind that white pickup in the picture. In the satellite image, I think there might be someone pulled up on the lawn there,
Yeah,
but there's no driveway approach where that silver pickup is parked in that picture.
but if this applicant puts a driveway there, then how far away does the neighbor have to put a driveway? They'll be limited in how close they could have the driveway, right?
They will, their limit will be the property line and not this driveway. So there is an existing curb cut there. It's not considered a driveway approach because there's no driveway behind it. They want to modify the east side of the driveway approach, so the west side would stay fixed, and it is currently more than the required 3 feet from property line. The neighbor would have to, if he installed a driveway, would have to maintain his minimum distance from the property line before he started his driveway approach.
Go ahead.
The applicant can currently use that driveway now as a dirt, correct? Since there is a cutout?
It's not considered a driveway. Seaside Municipal Code defines a driveway with certain types of surface paving. So concrete, pavers, asphalt. I think that's all the kinds that it says. It does not consider a dirt one to be a driveway. When I spoke with traffic enforcement, they said that they would probably not ticket an individual parking in front of it because it's not a driveway.
But the applicant can use the cutout to pull a vehicle.
Yes, they
Into the
could
dirt
physically
portion.
drive a vehicle into it if it wasn't blocked by
If it wasn't blocked.
yeah, by another vehicle parallel parking in front of it.
Okay, and would the applicant be able to put like down DG or 3/4 strain rock or anything to get rid of the dirt?
I don't know if that counts as driveway paving or not.
Actually, maybe I should, let me, just a little bit of background here. What's going on is they want to because this already went through the planning process. So they have an existing driveway and you can see the garage in the bottom corner of the property. They want to convert that to an accessory dwelling unit. So they want to build a second driveway over that this one would serve. They are required by code to put in a paved full-on driveway in order to access that garage. So they can't build a garage if there's no driveway to serve it. So so one option would be that if they don't build a driveway here, they can't build the garage unless they eliminate the driveway on the other side. And that might be as simple a thing as eliminating the curb apron and, freezing into full height curb. But that is sort of a little bit more background as to what's going on here and why. No, because so the answer to your question would be, no, they can't use DG or dirt or anything like that because they want to put in a garage and so they have to meet the current codes for a driveway.
And an ADU doesn't require parking, on-site parking, correct?
Right.
Sure, let's do more.
Patrick, how wide did they want that driveway?
It might be on the, no, it's not legible. It was 16 feet because they were planning to put in a 2-car garage and that's the minimum width for a 2-car garage.
So it takes like approximately a car's parking spot length up, like that
Correct.
prevents someone else that had been parking there to park there.
Yeah, it would take away one
One spot.
parallel parking spot.
Just one question, I think. So the curb cutaway as such. Logically speaking, when people see that, they're not gonna park there because they assume it's I would assume, when I drove by today, I assumed it was a driveway with a cutaway without the cement or the
Mhm.
pad. So in reality, people aren't gonna park because of the appearance of it is a driveway. Does that seem to be true?
That's possible. Looking through past Google image history, street view history, there used to be a bush right there that made it very difficult to pull a
Right.
car in there. And in the past, people had parked in front of it. Whether or not people understand that it is actually not officially a driveway or not, doesn't really have an effect on our analysis. We don't consider that.
So maybe for you, sir, when you said they're putting a process through the planning commission, trying to fix it up as such, and they need the second driveway to make it what they want to make it, is that sort of, I mean, that's not the best way to say it, but
So it's already gone through the planning commission, and is it possible to shrink that back down? So it's already gone through planning commission and it was approved with the condition that they receive the necessary approvals for a second driveway as is. So if it doesn't get approved for a second driveway, their choices would be to either eliminate the original driveway, thereby making this the one and only driveway, or they would have to not put this driveway in. That has the added effect that if they don't put that driveway in, then they can't build the garage.
Then my only question is, when they added the garage as such, I'm sure they submitted plans. Did it enhance the overall appearance of that property as such?
Planning commission seemed to think so.
Okay.
I don't think we have elevations here as part of the.
No, the applicant is in attendance.
Is there any more questions? Why don't we have the, if anybody wants to speak like the applicant, maybe you can share some wisdom.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time to consider our request. Like Patrick was saying, you know, our goal is to, you know, create a second attached garage to the right. And also create the entry towards the front of the home. Instead, right now it's on the side of the existing driveway. That's how we get in. It's all on the side of the house. So we're trying to reorient the actual entry and the two-car garage to the right and make that kind of the more focal point to entry. We also are planning on a second level above the garage as well, more living space. And then also the ADU, the detached ADU is part of that, and they would be utilizing that whole left side where the existing driveway is. You know, I think that, you know, currently no one really ever parks in front of that spot, because like you said, they just assume it's a driveway, and we put gravel down there, and like drain rock, so we do use that. There's a lot of cars that park on our street currently. And so it's hard to find street parking right now. And so adding this second driveway would obviously give us more off-street parking for us, as well as the tenants for the ADU once that's, you know, habitable. I think that's pretty much it. One other thing to note, the neighboring property, 1496, I believe, it is multi-tenant, but it is almost the exact same footprint of our lot. And it currently has two driveways in it as well, same street frontage and everything. So it works for them as well. So I think that's it. Unless you guys have any questions on anything for me.
I don't see any questions. Thank you for your time. We're gonna bring it back to the dais
Okay.
for discussion, and we'll see where we go.
Okay, thank you.
And does anybody have any input in this? Because you may have most knowledge, I think.
Yeah, just my 2 cents on this is that I don't disagree with staff's assessment that more driveways equals greater risk for there to be, you know, an accidents. And, you know, 10 years ago, planning 101 would have just been like, okay, you get one driveway, your garage is over here, so you need to, you know, cut off access over here. But we do have, I don't know if I'd go so far as to call it, in some neighborhoods, it probably is a crisis with regards to people being able to find enough parking on the street. With ADUs, a lot of times we see people convert the garage and the parking is basically gone, and there's really nothing we can do about that. So when I see, you know, an application where they want to keep this long parking area, and I saw, you know, 2 cars parked side by side in the aerial, those are cars that can get taken off the street, and I think that's a positive thing that, in my mind at least, offsets any risks that may, you know, be associated with having 2 driveways on the same property. And if they were right next to each other, or there was another one right next to it on the other property, maybe I feel a little differently, but there's a lot of space between all these driveways. The fact that there isn't a property line between these driveways, I don't think that should differentiate this between, you know, if there was a line, it would be fine. We'd be saying that, you know, these driveways are perfectly fine, but because they're on the same lot, you know. So I think that this is a good project. I think that, you know, we want to see people making these kinds of improvements to their property, and I think we want to see people providing this kind of off-street parking. And the loss of the one stall, yes, but you know, if they convert it to an ADU, then that stall would be taken, but they can fit even more people off the street if they leave that area in place. So my personal recommendation would be that we let them do both of the driveways. That's my 2 cents.
Is there any other comments? Not. Just
With the condition that they lower the fence.
just what I've seen, yeah, I would concur. I think I drove the street today. 2 different time frames, and I've walked the street. I think it was last week I walked on that street in my daily walks. And I did not see a whole lot. I didn't go in the evening. I didn't go in the morning. I didn't see a tremendous amount of traffic driving up and down that street because it's off the side as such. I have. Obviously, we want to see that area enhanced and improved in the appearance of the neighborhood. And if this does that, and the applicant is moving towards that, you know, I don't have any significant problems with the suggestion. But whatever it be, is any other comments, any thoughts? Any recommendations, any action? We'll make a motion.
Yes, I'll make a motion that the TAC make a recommendation that city council approve the second driveway on the condition that the fence be modified so that the visibility triangle requirements are complied with. And that would be for in case of, if there's an existing situation on the existing driveway, it would apply to that as well. I don't know if there is.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so in a same thing, I'm assuming it's gonna be on the June 6th council meeting?
I'll add it.
So we're gonna probably add it, and so he'll keep you posted as far as being in on the agenda or not. Then it moves forward in that for council consideration. Okay, thank you. Okay, and number 5, staff communication.
None.
And I think we're done. Adjourn at 5:33.